Hi, I'm Ali and a warm welcome to the Ceramic Repair Studio. So in today's video, I thought I would just do a slight repair by fixing this cherub, and we've glued him back together and he's been previously broken, head had come off and a couple of the wings, and I thought today I would actually fill in some of the gaps here, if you can see just between his head and his neck, and we're going to fill this in with a product called Milliput. Now, Milliput comes in lots of different colours, and I would just like to say that I'm not sponsored in any way, but I do find it very easy to use as well and to sand. Now, if you do have another product you could recommend, please leave it in the comments down below. It's always worth knowing what other people are using and recommendations. So I've got the superfine white today, and it comes in two parts. And first of all, we'll just take one part. Now, when I first take it out of the packet, I always like to make a small round ball, because then we can make sure it's easier to actually compare with the other packet than if you're in size, and you want them to be the same size, so it's literally half of one and half of the other. And then we'll take the other one. I always find the whiter colour always tends to be a bit softer and a bit more pliable as well. So again, we take one, the other one, and we just roll it and then just compare. So the white's a tiny bit more, so I just take a tiny bit off that, and then just make sure you place it back in so no air's getting to the Milliput. Right, so once we've done that, we're going to take our pieces and we're just going to give it a good mix through with the fingers. Now, because they're two different types of colour, when you're combining them, it's easy to tell when it's actually mixed together thoroughly, because you shouldn't see any lines. When you first start, it almost looks like a marble effect. That's obviously you're joining the two pieces together. And you'll also find it'll end up sort of almost feeling a bit softer and tacky, almost like blue tack. And we'll just keep mixing with the fingers. Now, it tends to take around 24 hours to actually set and dry. You can leave it longer. Obviously, the longer you leave it, the harder it becomes, and it is such a good product. Now, I'm not going to use any glue with this, but if you're actually putting some Milliput onto a larger piece, you may want to add glue first. I do have other videos on that if you'd like to look at those. But for very small blending in cracks, we won't need to use any glue. The Milliput will actually is self-adhesive. So once that's thoroughly mixed, I'm going to take some water here and just basically rinse my fingers and dry off with some kitchen roll or tissue. Right, now the implement I'm using to actually fill in any of these little cracks and crevices is a little tool here, and you can get dentist tools, just something with a sort of flatness here so we can actually scrape along, well, not so much scrape but sort of press into. If you don't have anything like this, a cocktail stick should do the job, actually should be just as good, or a very small palette knife, obviously depending on the size of the item. So let's just look here, and I can just see some big cracks in here. So I'm taking a piece of the Milliput and just adding a tiny little bit. You can also, if you wanted to, you can use your fingers and apply in, obviously depending. Actually, I might just use my fingers, and I'm just going to place it in. And we'll need a little bit more. And you can just keep building up. And just again holding on, finding where the gaps are, and then with the tool I'm just literally smoothing down. I don't want to press too hard, filling in the gap. Now, this item isn't glazed, so it's going to be more tricky to sort of blend in, because we won't be able to paint afterwards. You could paint it over, but his had so much damage to him. We're literally just doing what I would call a museum repair. So a museum repair is when you don't paint afterwards and you're actually showing where it has been repaired. Again, I'm just blending in here. If you want to, you can also, with your tool, dip it in the water, and this will actually help smooth it out even better. Just smooth it down and blend in. And I'll just keep going all the way along. And this is quite a deep break here. And you can see here we've got another gap here. So again, I would take the Milliput, roll it in my fingers, roughly to size, and then just apply where the gap is and just lightly press down. If you have too much, bit of a surplus, you can always take sort of parts away. If you like, you can leave it slightly proud. So if you want to actually do some sanding, you'd end up with a better, it would end up nice and flat. But you don't want to have it too proud, otherwise you can have more work for yourself. But just a little bit. Just keep going along there. And I'll keep working this until I'm really happy that it's all blended in. There are no gaps. And just keep going all the way along. Now I can see a tiny little piece here which needs doing as well. So again, we'll just take another piece and make this quite thin. And again, I'll just literally apply, press down. It's quite tricky because the arms are in the way. There's lots of different angles. Just press down and hold. You may have to squidge it in with a finger. Start again. Again, just adding to, placing with the finger. Very tricky angle here. I might actually use the other end here to scoop it in. Really press into that. That's better, into that crevice. It's always worth experimenting with different tools. That's better. Needed. This has slightly more of a, as you can see, more of an incline. It's not completely flat, slightly curved. So I can get into the area better. I'm going to keep pressing down. Making sure there's no gaps. Now what you could do at this point is you can actually use your finger, dip it into water and smooth the area. So if you wanted to not actually use any form of sandpaper and you just want to leave it and just add, and just sort of smooth it down, which would be very difficult to get the sandpaper into, which is doable. But if, for instance, you want to, you can just dip your finger in and then just smooth the area with the Milliput on, and this will actually really smooth it in and make it almost, again, as if it's flush. And you can just keep working the Milliput like that, again smoothing with the water. Just keep using the fingers. Again, we can use the tool either sides or ends. so it just takes out any ruffles. So that's how I'm fixed the cracks on with the head. I'm going to leave this to dry for 24 hours, and then I'm just going to give it a very, very light sand just to make sure it's nice and flush, and then he will be ready for my client. It does need a lot more work to it, as in with the wings, which I will repair a little bit more as well. And as you can see, he's actually missing his bow and arrow. Well, his arrows are there, but his bow's gone. But my client just wanted the head fixed on, which had come off, and the wings. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe for more content. I will leave another video on if you just here, if you'd like to look at that, that would be great. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Okay, bye.